Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about all the books I actually read in June. And what better way to talk about them than out on a porch on this beautifully, viciously hot summer day. If you enjoy talking about books and you would like to know my thoughts on books, I hope you will subscribe. So let's talk about my June TBR. So I had posted sharing with you all the books that I had hoped I would get to in June. I said that I wanted to get through 6 books, and well, considering one of the books was a beast of a book, I think that goal was a little lofty. So the first book I said I wanted to get through was this final book from the Throne of Glass series. This is The Kingdom of Ash. Guys, look at how big this book is. It is a monster. And being that it was the last book in this series meant that there was so much that needed to be wrapped up, and so much that it was just an emotional roller coaster. Now, I'm going to try my very best not to give spoilers, but I do not make any full promises, but I will try my best. So, Kingdom of Ash. I definitely did finish this. I did a combination of listening to it on audiobook, but also reading it. And I went into this expecting to be destroyed, expecting this emotional roller coaster, this ugly crying. And while there was definitely moments of sadness, and there was definitely moments of there was definitely amazing moments, and this book definitely wrapped up the series really well, it really didn't destroy me the way a lot of people said that it destroyed them. I don't know, maybe I'm a little cold-hearted for that, but I've had other books really destroy me that did it in one book, and this was the final book in the series, so I was slightly disappointed there. But overall, the book did wrap up everything, and I like that this was written closer to the style of the Throne of Glass book, which I read first and which is what brought me into this series. So this one had the action, the plot, the story all woven through, versus most of the other books in this series having the first part be world building and the second part be the action. So I really did enjoy that there was action throughout. The scenes, the epic fighting scenes were beautifully done. I really did enjoy this, even though it wasn't as impactful as I had expected it to be. Now, there is one character in here that I feel like Sarah just did not write her in a way that was justified. There is one character who I kept expecting something more from, and just fell flat, and it feels like it's the only piece of this story that wasn't wrapped up, that wasn't finished correctly. Sorry if you hear a whole bunch of background noise. We have construction going on just down the street, and I thought they left for the day. Apparently not. So overall, I gave this particular book in the series 4 stars. I was really hoping for it to be 5, but it just went on a little bit too long, and that one character not being written very well could have had a lot bigger story. I really hope that means that there is more to come, that person's going to get their story. And if you know who I'm talking about, let me know if you feel the same way. I will do another video talking only about this whole series, but overall, this particular book I give a 4 stars. Then I somehow needed to figure out how to move on from that series and that book, and honestly guys, I took a long break from reading, and when I finally did get back into it, I knew I needed something that was kind of a palate cleanser. So for my palette cleanser book, I went into a self-help slash business book, and I listened to Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdul. I hope that's how you say it. I apologize if it is wrong. I have been watching his YouTube for a while now, and I really like a lot of what he has to say, a lot of his insights, even though they don't all really settle right for me in my personal journey. I have found a lot of encouragement and a lot of things that I do resonate with. So I went ahead and listened to his book, and I will say I gave it a 4-star. But I think when I go back and I physically read it and use it more as a workbook, I have a feeling I'm going to turn that into a 5-star, because I do feel like that book is probably better laid out for that. He went through a lot of different techniques that he has used, a lot of different he quoted a lot of different people. He also referenced stuff like World of Warcraft and Lord of the Rings. I think Lord of the Rings was in there. And a lot of like references to things that I either personally like or my husband personally likes, or like different stages of life that we were into, different things like that, that just helped me really like him even more. But as far as the actual stuff of the book, it really was good, but I didn't really walk away with too much new, because shockingly, several of the things that he suggests are actually things that I've already been doing for years. So it was interesting to see that, and it further proved to me that we were kind of on the same wavelength when it comes to how we structure our day, how we think about different business things. So that was really nice to see, and the way he writes is almost identical to how he talks on his YouTube channel. The way he speaks in his audiobook is pretty much identical. So if you like his voice and you like his speech pattern and everything, this is a very soothing book. I really did enjoy that. And I feel like I would gain more though from having the physical book and having the workbook pages. And I do believe the audiobook does come with a link or something to download the pages so you can do your own stuff. I just haven't looked into that further. So while it was good, I'm going to give it a 4 for now, and that could very easily go up to a 5. Guys, the next book I read was Gothicana, and this is a dark romance book. And this was beautiful. I honestly was not 100% going into this sure if I was really going to like this. I had been hearing a couple things from a couple friends about their personal thoughts on it, even though they hadn't made it all the way through. And so that gave me some worry. But first off, look at this cover. Isn't she gorgeous? And then it's got the purple sprayed edges. It's just beautiful. So this book is set on a college campus where our main character meets a teacher that is also a student. It's kind of a weird setup. There is a reasoning for it, a good one. And through a bunch of different interactions, they're both kind of like people who like to be alone and people who like to be, you know, walking through the woods on their own. And so they eventually run into each other a couple times that way, as well as in the classroom. And a couple weird things just start to pop up, and then you start to hear rumblings of the mystery surrounding this Gothic style campus, such as missing people, people going missing on very specific days. And it's just following this mystery, and you're just trying to uncover the mystery of this place. And throughout this book, there is a dark romance side to it that is so beautifully written. And it just really took me by surprise. I really like that A lot of the chapters are pretty short, especially after Kingdom of Ash. I really needed something with short chapters, and this did not disappoint. Now, there are some chapters that were longer, but for the most part, it's very, I don't know. So this is not a YA book, but it is written in a easy enough style that it felt a little YA as far as how quickly I went through it, but the topic and everything was definitely not a YA novel. So I loved this. This is my very first book from this author, and now I need more. And I do believe originally this was supposed to be a standalone. I really hope that there's more to this, and the ending kind of left it mostly wrapped up with possibly a couple little questions that could lead into a second book. So I'm really excited to see more from this, and this is a 5-star rating for me. 5-star, hands down. There was not a moment in here that I thought it was going to be anything less than 5-star, except for right before I started it. So very, very glad I read this, and I hope to read more from this author soon. So guys, the final book I read in June was Under the Whispering Door. Now, I started this, I believe, back in April, and it obviously took me a while to finish it. So was it because it was bad? Why? Why did it take me so long? Well, first off, this was my very first book from TJ Klune, and so I don't know if his other stories are like this or not, but this was a very, very, very cozy book, which meant for me it took forever to read because it was too cozy. The writing was beautifully done. The story and the characters were so cute. The tea shop that they're in, adorable. Like, this touched on the topic of death and dealing with looking at your life after death, looking back on your life in such a beautiful, beautiful way. But it was so cozy. It was just too cozy. There was just not enough keeping me being like, okay, I need to finish this book. I need to know what happens next. So that's why it took me so long to read. The writing was beautiful. The characters I really, really like. I do want to pick up some of his other books and see if they are a little bit more fast-paced, because I love a cozy book. This was beautiful. But I feel like it needed just a little bit more of a hook to keep me wanting to pick it up, because I kind of just forgot about it until I felt like being cozy, and then I sat down and read it. So that's why it took me so long to get through. The other thing was that I didn't read the back of this to read like all of the things that people have said about it. So I had no idea whatsoever about the little bit of romance that would come about in this, because the about this book section, you know, right here, did not imply any type of romance whatsoever. And while the romance is such a small portion of this story, it did kind of throw me for a loop a little bit. It didn't take over the book, but it didn't start until literally halfway through the book. So I wasn't expecting it. Nothing leading up to it really was implying anything was coming for that. And it didn't like overtake the book. It didn't overtake the whole story, but it definitely made me question whether or not if it was changing completely. And I think that's another reason why it took me so long to read it, because I was expecting one thing and then I was starting to get something else. But thankfully, while there was a romance aspect to it, it was done in such a beautiful way that it wasn't deterring from the main purpose of the book, which is death is only their beginning. So when it came to reading this book, it was kind of difficult, because the writing style and how beautiful this was really made me want to give it 5 stars, but the fact that it was just too cozy and I just kept forgetting to come back to it, I had to knock it down. So I ultimately did give it 4 stars. Now, if you have read other things from this author, please go ahead and let me know in the comments if all of his books are this cozy, or if they kind of have a little bit of a faster pace, because if they do, I will definitely be picking up more, but if they're all just as cozy as this, I might not for a while. Well, friends, those are the 4 books I ended up reading in June. If you have read any of them, let me know. If you plan on reading any of them, let me know. I'd love to know your reading journey. I obviously didn't hit the 6 goal that I was planning on, but you know what? That is okay. I still enjoyed my reading month, and that's ultimately all that matters. If you enjoy book-related content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in a video very, very soon.